Sister booked her wedding at my already reserved venue. Mother tried to force entry into my house. So I'm 28 years old and I have two sisters, Olivia, who's 24, and Emma, who's 18. When I was just 11, my mom made a big decision to send me away to live with her parents, my grandparents. We lived in different states, about an 8-hour drive apart. My mom told everyone that my grandparents needed help on their big farm, but I kind of felt like she just didn't want to deal with a teenage boy who was always getting into trouble. I was super curious and often found myself bored, which led to me causing a bit of chaos. But living with my grandparents turned out to be awesome. They had this huge place in the mountains with an amazing view and lots of animals like horses, goats, cows, and other cool critters. And yes, my grandparents were pretty rich, which made their place even more amazing. Living there totally changed my life. There was so much to do. I could ride my dirt bike, go fishing, hiking, and swimming. I also met a bunch of people who liked the same things I did, which was great. At first, I was really upset with my mom for sending me away and then not really being part of my life much after that. But looking back, I'm actually thankful. If I hadn't moved, I wouldn't be who I am today. Plus, I heard that my mom never got along great with her parents because she thought they were too strict. But their strictness gave me a sense of structure and purpose that I didn't even know I needed. They were strict, but not mean. I sometimes think my mom might have been a bit jealous of how well I got along with them because it was way different from her own experience. Times had changed, and my grandparents were really focused on making the farm successful, which they did after my mom had moved out. I think my mom saw how I was actually flourishing with them and really hated that and in turn hated me. But yeah, we just didn't have a relationship with each other much after I left. I mean, I never went back there, not even for the holidays. So that says it all. My grandparents were such loving people and always encouraged me to just be myself, learn and work hard. They taught me a valuable life, lessons that have carried with me to this day. Even though they had money, I never looked at them as people who had money. They didn't flaunt it. They didn't push it in people's faces. They were so hardworking and generous. They worked for everything they ever had and were always giving what they could to people who didn't have much. Folks were always coming over and sitting at her kitchen table with us for lunches and dinners. Sundays were a special day for that. Anyway, I remember my mom always saying that she never really liked them because they were really strict with her and didn't let her do anything. So the minute she turned 18, she moved away to the city where she met my dad. She then followed my dad a couple of states away where they currently reside. He had taken advantage of a new job opportunity and they got married and started a family. My parents ended up getting divorced shortly after I went to live with my grandparents. My grandparents said that she used to sneak out of the house a lot and try to get away with sneaking her boyfriend into the house, but they just wouldn't allow that. I get that it's sort of a rule they gave me while I lived with them too. No hanky-panky under their roof, I get it. But the older I got, the more I realized my mom was just a real wild one. So I guess the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. And I think my grandparents tried to make up for that by how they treated me. I don't know, I guess I never received the treatment that she got when she was with them. But whatever it is, they were more parents to me than my own parents. And fortunately, they both passed away 4 years ago from COVID. We left me with the property, believing that I would appreciate it and take care of it more than my mother and sisters, who received money and other assets valued higher than the property. In the 4 years since, I have transformed part of the property into a popular wedding venue and another part into a pretty swell bed and breakfast. I've also made it possible to do your own pumpkin patch picking and set up a little corn maze that people like to take part in during the fall. My grandparents really set me up for life, and I'm so grateful for them. I really tried my best in the last 4 years to make this place enjoyable for everyone. I will try to do Sunday brunch here as well as anyone who wants to pop in. I have really worked hard to keep that tradition alive because of all of that. This property really does give back to me in so many ways. I feel very fortunate. The wedding venue is a popular spot and is typically booked out for about 8 months of the year. When my sister Olivia got engaged a year ago, she immediately expressed her desire to have her own wedding at her property. I eagerly agreed, but reminded her to let me know the date as soon as possible so I could assure its availability on the calendar. Some context with my sisters. We maintained a pretty good relationship growing up. They'd come to spend about a month or two with me and her grandparents every year. Like I said, I never went back home, but we had so much fun together. We didn't talk about our mom. We just existed together. And it was great. It was nice to have them around. But as we got older, Olivia stopped wanting to come and Caleb didn't want to come if Olivia wasn't coming. We still tried to talk on the phone, texts, and video chat when we could. Anyway, I never got a date from Olivia, which was frustrating. I started getting anxious and followed up several times. I kept asking her to the point where I was even annoying myself to brush me off, saying, "Oh, ask George, her fiancé." Well, 3 weeks ago, I got the wedding invitation in the mail. The invitation included the name of my property, the address, and the date and time that she never confirmed with me. The date is in August of this year. My heart dropped June through August, or the busiest months, and I already knew that they were booked up. I quickly phoned her to let her know that the date that she requested was already booked and apologized for being unable to make room for her. Then I asked why she didn't tell me sooner. She apologized, telling me that she's had so much on her mind and feels stretched thin. I said, Olivia, I told you that you had to tell me right away because this place gets booked up 8 months in advance. She started crying and said that I needed to work my magic and make this happen because she thought. She told me the date. Oh, really? She had already put down deposits on the caterer, not ours. I'm outside one, the photography and whatever else. She said that she sent out invites to over 200 people already. I said, Olivia, the weekend you want is already booked and they've already put their deposits down 9 months ago. I can't just cancel their wedding when they were responsible enough to get their venue sorted out. She called me selfish, saying that it was ruining her whole wedding. There must be something I can do. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my emotions as Olivia's accusations pierced through me. I never wanted to disappoint her, but I couldn't ignore the commitments that I made to other people and couples who trusted me with their special day. Olivia, I'm truly sorry that this has happened, but I can't just cancel on another couple to accommodate your wedding. Olivia's sobs echoed through the phone, and her words came out between that sounded like hiccups. But this is my dream wedding, and everything is falling apart now because of you. I said, because of me. You didn't send me the date when I repeatedly followed up with you. This is on you. She started sobbing and said Grandma and Grandpa would be so mad at me. Taking a moment to collect my thoughts, I spoke firmly yet calmly into the phone. Olivia, I understand that this is important to you, but you need to understand that I have obligations to fulfill as well. I'm running a business here, Olivia. I can't just disregard the commitments that I have made to others who have entrusted me with their special day. I told her that she needed to figure something else out, and ended the call within the hour. I got an unknown number calling my phone. I picked up and it was my mom. She told me that I am being completely disrespectful to my sister, and that I'm just jealous and trying to ruin her day by making up excuses. She said that if I didn't book my venue for my sister, she was going to get her friends to blast the venue on social media and give me bad ratings. She said that I'm just being an entitled brat and trying to play God. I literally laughed at her and told her to go ahead. I said, how is it that other people can manage to book in advance and get a confirmation from a venue, yet my sister can't do the same thing? Wouldn't that make her the entitled brat, thinking I would drop everything and cancel someone else's wedding for her? She's had a whole year to give me the date. I followed up with her and have a paper trail of every single conversation that we've had, and chains of emails, and not once as a date or time. The only confirmation that I received of a date and a time is the invitation that I got in the mail. My mom said that I need to put whatever issue that I have with her and whatever resentment and bad blood that I'm carrying from childhood and stop trying to take it out on my sister. Oh, really? This is ridiculous. I said, whoa, how does that have anything to do with Olivia? She said, you tell me. You're the one ruining this for everybody. I said, I don't think you understand how a business runs. Clearly, I can't explain this to you further, and you don't even want to hear what I have to say. You haven't contacted me in years, and the first time you do is because my sister messed up and thinks she can get whatever she asked for from a reputable business. Sorry, but buying it somewhere else. Other family members or partners? Family and some of her friends have all been attacking me. They are all calling, texting, and leaving negative reviews for my business. Just like my mom said, I've turned off all comments on my posts and asked them to stop, but they continue to harass me. I tried to tell them my side of the story, but to no avail. I even contacted my sister Olivia and told her that all she had to do was let me know the date of her event so that I could make arrangements. She started yelling at me, claiming that I was ruining her day. How stupid can people be? Her fiancé, they even got involved cursing me out and telling me that I've ruined everything. Olivia said that the property belongs to her family. She had already sent out invitations and couldn't back out now. She wanted me to cancel on the other couple who had been booked for over a year now. She said that she's going to get the guests to show up anyway, and everything is going to go as planned on her end. I decided to only communicate through business channels, like a recorded phone line and emails. If anybody calls in to talk about the matter, I told them to transfer the phone to me to deal with it, because they are starting to harass and verbally assault my staff. I tried to compromise and suggested 3 alternative dates around the same time, but they were during the week and significantly less expensive. But that wasn't good enough for anyone. I said if her and her guests do end up showing up on the same day as the other couple, I'd have no choice but to turn people away after they come all that way and potentially get the police involved in the whole. Absolutely not. Now for the update. Update 1. Okay, I'm back with an update. There have been some interesting developments. First of all, eventually I just said that if I catch any of them or their guests on my property on or around that date, they'd get arrested for trespassing. Shortly after I really put my foot down, I got a call from my sister Emma saying that mom's gone and hasn't told them where she's gone to. She's been gone for 2 days. I'm like, okay. And Emma's like, yeah, just be careful. She might be heading your way. I said she wouldn't have the guts, but turns out that she did have the guts. Who rolls up after hours? Other than my very own mother, who haven't seen in person since my grandparents passed away. She's in the family van. I guess she must have driven all that way. She pulls right up to my house and gets out and starts knocking on the door, yelling and saying that she knows I'm in there because the lights are on. So I go to the front door, and without opening it, I'm like, if you don't leave now, I'm gonna call the cops because you're trespassing on my property. She said, you can't call the cops. I grew up here. This is my house. Then she tries to get at the door, literally heaving on the handle and using her full body weight to try and open the door. And I'm like, okay, well, here we go. I call the cops and tell them what's happening. At this point, my cameras are also recording everything too. So yeah, she's essentially breaking down my door. When the cops arrive, they arrest her and take her in. Her van gets towed. I call my sister Emma and tell her what had happened. Emma starts crying, but she gets it. I said, this isn't her fault and it's not on her. I said mom made her own choices and it led her to where she is today. The next day I get a call from Emma. She's like, you gotta sit down. And I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, oh yeah, but mom's been lying to everyone. Apparently my mom had told Olivia that she could help out by booking the caterer, the photographer, and putting down all the deposits for everything else. Olivia took this as genuine because she was actually getting pretty overwhelmed with the whole wedding planning thing. I guess Olivia's actually pregnant. She hasn't told anyone. But Emma, our mom and her fiance, she's been pretty sick and hasn't been feeling well. So I felt pretty bad about that. But anyway, yeah, Olivia was thankful for my mom's job. She gave my mom the cash to do all of this, but I guess my mom gambled the cash away. Someone Olivia went to contact all those other vendors to potentially change the date to something there was available here. All the vendors that my mom was supposed to contact said that nothing had been set in stone yet and no deposits have been made. That's when they started doing some serious investigating and discovered that my mom was totally broke. The bills and utilities hadn't even been paid. Emma found letters hidden in my mom's room that said the house was in danger of being foreclosed. Well, she had no idea. Nobody had a clue. Apparently, Emma was talking to her dad, and he said that he received a few calls from our mom asking if she could borrow some money. He asked what was going on, and she said that she just owed some people some money and was having a hard time mentally. Not only that, but when our mom received her inheritance, she quit her job so she didn't even have an income coming in. I called Olivia and told her that Emma told me everything and that I was really sorry. She started crying and said that she was sorry too and had no idea. She said that mom was really pushing her to have the wedding at my property because she was saying that I likely would let them get married here as a gift, so it would be for free. Apparently my mom said that she'd take care of that, but Olivia's been so sick with this pregnancy that she forgot to tell me the actual date. She legitimately thought she had told me. I said I was sorry for speaking to her that way. She said that she was sorry too. She said that nothing's even been booked, so the wedding has been technically postponed to the same time next year. Looking at my books in the calendar, I said the date and time were totally free for next year. I said I'd give her a significant discount on the venue and our caterer and the house ended up getting foreclosed on. My mom never returned home. She went to stay with some cousin of hers down south. She doesn't speak to me, which is nothing new, nor to Olivia. But she texts Emma just to let her know that she's okay. Every now and again, Emma is going to live with Olivia while trying to get things sorted. And I guess I'm trying to stay out of it. But she's staying with Olivia until she goes to college. She's welcome back in the summers and also has plans to come stay with me every now and then again. We're thinking everyone can come out here for Thanksgiving this year. Update 2. Greetings again, everyone. As things have unfolded, I've come to realize that no matter how much you prepare, life always has a way of surprising you, often profoundly. Here's what has been happening since my last post about the chaotic situation involving my sister Olivia's wedding and our mother's unexpected visit. Following the confrontation with my mother, who tried to force her way into my home, I had to make the tough decision to involve the police. The situation escalated to a point where I could no longer handle it alone, especially considering the threats and the actual attempt to break into my house. The officers responded promptly, and unfortunately, it resulted in my mother being arrested and her van being towed. This was not how I wanted things to unfold, especially with family involved, but her actions left me no choice. The incident had a ripple effect. My sister Emma was understandably upset, but also supportive of the measures I took to protect my property and myself. She acknowledged that our mother had crossed a line that couldn't be ignored. The next day, Emma shared some shocking news that shed light on a series of lies and deceit from our mother that none of us could have anticipated. It turns out, our mother had been lying to Olivia about handling the wedding preparations. Olivia, overwhelmed by her pregnancy and the stress of wedding planning, had trusted our mother with the funds to book various vendors. However, Emma discovered that none of these bookings had been made. No deposits, no confirmations, nothing. All the money given to our mother had vanished, likely gambled away based on her past behaviors. This revelation was heartbreaking for Olivia, who was already under tremendous pressure. Not only was she dealing with the physical and emotional toll of her pregnancy, but she now faced the fact that her trusted preparations were all a facade, and her financial contribution had been squandered. The situation worsened when Emma found foreclosure notices at our mother's house. Our mother had managed her finances so poorly that she was on the brink of losing her home. This explained her desperate attempt to crash at my place and possibly why she pushed so hard for the wedding to be at my venue, perhaps seeing it as a way to maintain some control or connection to something stable. In light of these tumultuous events, Olivia and I had a long, heartfelt conversation. We apologized to each other for the misunderstandings and the harsh words exchanged in frustration. Understanding her situation better now, I offered to host her wedding next year on a date that was available, providing a significant discount to help her manage the costs more effectively. Olivia was grateful, and we both felt a sense of relief and reconciliation. She decided to postpone the wedding to next year to give herself time to recover from the recent upheavals and to enjoy her pregnancy without the shadow of these stresses. Emma decided to move in with Olivia to support her through the pregnancy and the changes ahead. They planned to handle the upcoming challenges together, strengthening their sisterly bond. As for me, I've extended an invitation for everyone to spend Thanksgiving at my place, hoping it will be an opportunity for healing and creating new, happier memories as a family. This entire ordeal has been a stark reminder of how complex family dynamics can be and how deeply the actions of one person can affect many. Despite the chaos, the resilience shown by Emma and Olivia gives me hope. As for our mother, her choices have led her on a different path, one that, unfortunately, has taken her away from us. We remain open to reconciliation, but also understand the need for healthy boundaries. As I continue to navigate these familial waters, I appreciate all the support and advice from this community. Your perspectives have been a beacon during these trying times. I'll keep you updated as we approach the holiday season and look forward to sharing more positive developments. Thank you for being part of this journey. Story 2. Update: my 29 female boyfriend, 29 male, recently passed away, and I have found things that point out that he may have been cheating on me. I don't know what to do. Should I investigate further and find out the truth? Original post. So I was with my boyfriend for 3 years. We had a beautiful, imperfect relationship. He was a wonderful man in every way, and just a month ago he died tragically and unexpectedly. Both his family and I have been devastated and inconsolable for this. We were going to move in together, and he was taken from me about 2 weeks ago. Her mother approached me with a box which she found while cleaning his room, and he would occasionally visit her, and he used to stay overnight. So his room was kept intact, like when he lived permanently there. She had decided to tidy up and clean his room because she was in a better state, and she found a box with the initial of my name. She didn't open it, but could see superficially that they were things like letters, some dried roses, among other things that she decided not to look at further because the thought was that they were my things were about us. So she thought it would be best to give it to me, and I could review those things alone. I thanked her, but I didn't really feel ready to see all those things. So I put the box away a couple of days ago. I came to visit his grave, and I got closer, and I could see a woman there. I immediately stopped to see if I could recognize her, but it was not a family member or friend. She had brought flowers, and I could see that she was crying. I was afraid to approach since I didn't know who she was, and I simply wanted a safe distance. She left after a few minutes and didn't even turn to look at me. Well, it seemed obvious to me that I don't know her. That whole night I couldn't sleep thinking about this woman. Who is she? Where did she know him from? I know all his family, friends, and people from his work, and I didn't recognize her from anywhere. I couldn't be calm or sleep those days because I thought of many possibilities, and he was no longer there, so I could ask him. I decided to go to his friends and tell them what happened. As soon as they described the woman, they looked at each other nervously and seemed to know who it was, but they didn't say anything. I insisted and cried a lot. I told them that I deserved to know if I had the wrong image of my boyfriend. Finally, they told me that it was his ex, and one of them confessed to having informed her about his death and his resting place because he believed that he would have liked it if she went to see him. I felt like my heart fell to my feet. I asked everything that I could, and it turns out that they had studied together since elementary school, and my boyfriend had been in love with her since then. And in high school, they started a relationship that lasted approximately 4 years, and then they were on and off until just 2 years before we started a relationship. He told me that according to what they knew, they had cut off all contact 5 years ago, but they didn't know for sure if this was true. I asked him for his name, and his name begins with the same initial as mine, and now I don't know what to think. I don't know if I should contact her to ask if she was with my boyfriend at the same time as he was with me. I know that the first thing that I should do is check that damn box and see if there were any of my things or things about her. But I can't. I'm so afraid of destroying this image I had with my boyfriend of the man that I thought he was. I don't know what to do. I was already devastated to lose him. But now, I could lose all the beautiful memories I have of him if I finally found out that he was cheating on me. His friends tell me to leave the issue alone because he was no longer here to defend himself. Now for the update. Update 1. Hi. It's been a little while since I was already here and was totally paranoid about something absurd. To be honest, when I made the post, I expected a different reaction. Like people saying, open the box, go and confront the ex-girlfriend. I was looking for support because I knew it was crazy. I'm very happy to have found such kind people who cared about me without knowing me. After posting, I really knew I wasn't okay and I had to take care of my mental health. The first thing that I did was call my mom and tell her that I needed help because I was going downhill. She came in less than an hour, and that whole night I cried in her arms. Afterwards, she helped me find out about a psychologist, and we also found a fan apologist. We were able to schedule an appointment a few days later. So far, I had a few sessions, and I won't lie and say that I'm fine now because I still feel like life sucks for taking it away from me. And sometimes I feel like I'm floating disconnected of the world, or I forget that he is no longer here. My first instinct is to look for him or call him if something happens to me. It is being difficult, but at least I already asked for help and I'm receiving it, so I'm in a better place now. But there's still a long way to go, and I know that I have to do it without him. Regarding the box, I thought about returning it to his mom, but I really thought it was most likely about his ex. And it was. And I didn't want his mom to feel bad for giving me something that wasn't mine. I decided to give it to his friend and for him to get her into the right hands. He has truly been a rock for me, even though he is also grieving because he lost his best friend. They were friends since high school and studied at the same college. The general reason for this update is that a few days ago I spoke with her. I know that everyone was against contacting her, but it was not intentional. And the truth is beyond hurting myself. I felt much better afterwards. I ended up seeing her again in the cemetery. I approached her first, but she just looked at me confused. When I told her who I was, she just saw me, the way everyone sees me lately, with pity. We were silent for what seemed like an eternity, and then she started telling me something funny about him when he was a kid. She told me a lot of things that I didn't know about him. I must say that she was very kind and sweet, and she is so much like him in personality. And maybe it's because they grew up together, or because I felt so desperate to find him somewhere. But I really felt that they had the same way of speaking and the same sense of humor. Even though she was very afraid to talk about their time as a couple, it ended me telling me a little about them. She told me that for some reason or another, they were never able to fit together as a couple, even though they loved each other. So they decided to walk away before getting hurt. It turns out that the last time that they spoke was 2 years ago, when he rode to congratulate her on her wedding. They didn't talk much beyond wishing each other the best. She told me that she was glad that he had found a person like me and that he had been happy. He also thanked me for the box. She said that it contains very valuable things for her. That was all. There was no infidelity, and she only confirmed that he was a wonderful person, and I was very lucky to have met him. The only thing that made me sad was that even though he was always the best with me, I came to doubt his integrity as a person. Now, I just have to continue with the therapy and try hard to live without him. Thank you all.